Hi folks, how are you doing? The last game to finish in the third round of the 2014 Sinquefield Cup was this incredible battle between Vachier Topalov was white and Hikaru Nakamura with black pieces. And as the other two games of the round, this was another flashy and spectacular game. Really fire on the board, full of tactics in the middle game in each and every move. Really, there were moments that almost every piece could be captured, and a great exercise to try to improve your calculation. Good luck if you try to calculate it all in all variations. Definitely it was a very interesting game to follow. So let's go and see what happened. The opening was a Spanish opening, the Ruy Lopez. It went in pretty normal way. Bishop to a4, knight f6, Topalov castled, and Nakamura chose this bishop c5 setup, which by the way is a favorite, uh, favored a lot by Caruana with black pieces. In fact, we're gonna see Hikaru using an idea of Fabiano here later in the game. c3, d6, this is fairly theory. a4, rook goes to b8, defending that pawn. h3, black castles. Now after d4, bishop goes back typically. And rook e1, bishop to b7. So both players can be pretty happy, I think, about the opening. They have their share of central control, not a bad development, not that clear weaknesses, so pretty normal position. A takes, a take was played, and now knight to a3. Topalov is attacking the pawn on b5, and the way Nakamura is going to defend it, he's going to be taking first on d4, now playing the knight to a5, attacking the bishop and unleashing the power of this bishop against the e4 pawn. So he's counter-attacking the e4 pawn, and the best move here is what Topalov played. He just goes back with the bishop, protects his bishop pair, and protects the e4 pawn. b4, knight b1 was played, and here Caro plays rook to e8, an idea of Fabiano Caruana, as I said earlier, who played this move against cool outs in Gibraltar 3 years ago. So he's putting lots of pressure against the e4 pawn, having good development, and it's up to for Topalov here to decide what he's going to do. Vachier plays knight b d2, b3, and once again taking this pawn would result in the loss of the e4 pawn. So if, for instance, I don't know, if knight takes here, knight takes, bishop takes, and e4 is now hanging, knight e4 for instance, and black gets his pawn back without much problems in this position, I guess, with a comfortable position. So bishop went back to b1 after b3, keeping all options. Queen went to d7, and now it may seem that white has a very strong pawn center with these pawns. In part that's true, but black has lots of pieces attacking these pawns from the distance, the bishops, the rook, the knight, so quite an interesting position. I mean, white has good pawns, but they're under some heavy pressure. His development isn't that bad because the rook is active here, the bishop is doing a job, but the knight is kind of on the way. So it's an interesting position, this one. Topalov just released pressure here by moving his pawn forward. And after d takes, just look at all these possibilities for both players of having potential attacks. Now white has his bishop pair, just pointing out, targeting black king side. His queen could also come with this way. The knights, the rook could be useful. And the same we could say of black. This bishop on b6, very important, attacking f2. This other bishop on the great diagonal. The queen could join the party in any moment. The knight, the rook. So this is a really full of potential position for both players. Really an interesting one. Knight h5 is what Garo plays, gets away from the f6 square. And now after knight to g5, Nakamura played g6. It seems here he had a crucial point. It was a very nice opportunity for him to get great attacking chance, sacrificing the piece on f2. Very interesting way. Bishop takes f2 was a very good possibility here for black, it seems. After king takes, the queen comes with a check on d4. Okay, going to the light squares here doesn't seem very nice because the bishop would probably go to a6 with a very dangerous check. So rook e3 could be the alternative. And now rook takes e5. This rook is pinned and attacked twice. The knight on g5 is attacked as well with the rook. Some tactical mess is starting here when everything starts to be hanging. At the same time, white could counter-attack on h7 with this bishop, check, king f8, and now white is on time to play knight df3, defends the knight, attacks the queen, attacks the rook, and is giving this bishop the freedom to protect the rook. So, but of course the queen is hanging on d1, but white is taking the rook on e5. Completely messy position. Black got the queen against the rook and the bishop. Every piece is kind of scattered around the board. Both kings could be potentially in danger because just look at this possibility. If the queen isn't guarding d7, this could be checkmate. So a white king isn't very healthy looking either. So Topalov said after the game that black stands better here. Probably that's true, but really a completely messy position here. Well, Nakamura didn't go for this. He, after knight g5, he played more safely, played g6, closing this diagonal for once, and well, stopping white's attacking possibilities. But e6 here was played, sacrificing these pawns so far for the time being, just to play queen g4 after takes, and to put lots of more pressure there, developing the queen, increasing his activity. Knight went back to f6, attacking the queen, and the queen goes to h4. Now rook f8, interesting move because it's x-raying f2, which is potentially very weak. The bishop here could be a very important piece. As you can see, a really interesting game with lots of active possibilities for both players, like multiple chances for kingside attacks. You don't see this very often. Rook df3 was played, improving his knight, giving the bishop the freedom to play. Now bishop to d5, defending the weak pawn on e6. Knight e5 is attacking the queen, so the queen went to g7. Bishop d2 with the idea to go to c3, where it would be a really monster piece, controlling this dark square diagonal. And here once again Nakamura had the chance to play an interesting move. Well, not that easy maybe to see, but knight to h5 was very interesting, opening the lines for the rook and the bishop. And here bishop c3 of course is not very good anymore because f2 is hanging, so rook takes, threatening all kinds of discard attacks here, really deadly discard attacks, so white must be lost. But instead white could try knight g back to f3 to protect this f2 pawn from being attacked with the rook. Here black could answer bishop takes, and the knight cannot take back. I mean, the pawn has to take back because if knight takes, now b2 is hanging, queen takes on b2, and just look at this. The rook on a1 is under attack, and also and indirectly this d2 bishop is under attack because black is threatening to take the defender of the bishop on f3. Rook takes e3 is a threat as well here, leaving the bishop unprotected. And as you can see, once again, tactically crazy position with fire on the work, lots of possibilities to calculate for both players, pieces hanging here and there, skewers and pins and forks everywhere. So very interesting move, this knight h5. It's a pity Hikaru didn't go for this. Instead, he played knight to c6 back, and now after knight takes, he took back with the bishop, and finally this monster bishop got to c3, x-raying the queen. Really not great for black to see this bishop here on c3, unleashing power on the great diagonal. Nakamura desperately tries to close that with e5, giving that pawn to try to take advantage tactically of it. Rook took on e5, and now he takes the knight and puts it on d5. Although there is this discovered attacking possibilities against his queen, the knight is now on d5 on time to take the bishop, the dangerous bishop, on c3. But anyway, this is favoring white a lot. In fact, rook takes was a good possibility, it seems, for white, but completely messy position. As you can see, the bishop and the rook still having possibilities there. The queen is on h4 under attack, so great position to train the calculating skills. Queen c4 was played by Topalov, which also makes lots of sense. The bishop is now under attack. The knight is pinned. Bishop takes f2 was played, but the king goes to h1. And another crazy move in an already completely insane game. Rook to b4, attacking the queen. But as you can see, the bishop can take it. Otherwise, as we're gonna see after bishop takes, now this rook on e5 is hanging. So everything protected really in a very, very tiny way. Everything just goes in the air. Now the bishop is attacking f8 as well. Queen took on e5. Now Topalov went with the bishop to e4, attacking more, putting more pressure on d5. Rook f6 to protect c6, the bishop on c6, but now rook d1, putting heavy fire here on this knight on d5. I don't know if it could be protected or not, but Hikaru just played king g7, and after it, Topalov just takes. And after the queen takes d5 move, after 37 move of craziness on the board, Nakamura had enough and resigned the game as he's down a piece, and things are clarifying. Bishop c3 is a huge threat. If not, the queens are exchanged. This is once again up a piece for white. So finally, it seems things stabilize, and after the dust is gone on the battleground, white emerges a piece up in this really chaotic and crazy game of chess in 2014 Sinquefield Cup. Thanks for watching.